All right, guys, we got a big treat for you this morning. As you can tell, it's pretty dang wet out here in the field today. And today we're going to do something about that. All right, folks, today we got with us Zach, Inco, and Caleb. And y'all want to tell us a little bit about what we're doing out here with this machine?
We're going to be laying some drain tile, running ADS pipe, just helping Matt get into the fields quicker with planting and helping yields overall, and overall good investment on the farm.
Now, what's the name of your business, and what type of area do you cover?
We're Inco Ag and anywhere in the south, and we go 200-mile radius, Huntsville, Alabama, to up north, to west, to east. And pretty much we got 2 crews, 2 plows, and we'll go anywhere we need to help someone with a drainage issue.
Well, tell me a little bit about this monster machine right over here. I've never seen one like it. Of course, I've never been around tile, but that looks like that ought to pretty much get the job done.
This is they call it an inner drainage plow, cat engine. Weighs 80,000 pounds. It's got your big tracks on it. Pretty much it'll go anywhere you want to go when it's wet or dry, basically.
Gotcha. Now, I'm guessing it holds one of these spools of pipe over here on the front.
Hold your spool of 4 3-inch up here. It all feeds off the side to the back of the boot. It's all GPS graded on grade.
So what you're doing is you're laying this tile line right here. This is what, 4-inch line?
So we'll lay that as your lateral pipe, and then we'll also run a main pipe for all this to connect into and into the ditch.
And I don't know if you can tell, but you know, in between each rib, we got little slots for the water to trickle down in, because of course it drains it. So how deep are you having to run this line?
All your lateral pipe's going to be 30 inches or deeper. Basically, it'll be right at 30 inches. Main varies on elevation and depth of the ditch, so it's nothing to be shallower than 30 inches. That way you don't crush it with a tractor or sprayer rig or anything like that.
And you'll have a line space, what, every 30 feet?
Every 40 foot.
Every line every 40 foot there. All right, well, I'm anxious to see this thing work. So today, what you're going to do, what was about 10 acres worth of tiling?
Yeah, right at a 10-acre patch. We got to run and get a few more pieces of equipment and get back and get started.
Got you. Well, I'm anxious to see this thing run. All right, before we start having fun digging, we got some other things to do, prep work on the field.
We do. So we're actually going out to do a survey right now and collect some data on elevations.
You gotta go through and map the field, map the different elevations, so the tile plow knows exactly how far down to go to lay the pipe.
That's correct.
Now, when you're doing your survey, is it also going to be mapping the field, telling you exactly, the paths on where to lay the line at and everything, or do you do that later?
Well, we'll go in and that data that we're going to collect, and we will do that ourselves kind of manually and pick the best point to drain to, and where we're going to have the greater grade to slope up on that pipe.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to tile about 3/4 of this 14-acre field right here. The upper end of the bottom here, not going to touch, never had any problems with it draining, but you can see right here, you know, we got multiple problems like this all the way down this tree line, because what happens, you all heard me talk about frangipans before. Well, that's what's happening here. We got an upper field on the other side of these trees, and then we got a hillside with the woods, and what happens, get all this rainfall during the winter, water soaks in there in the woods, and then it percolates down, and then when it hits that frangipan, it starts moving laterally. And what it does, it moves out of the hillside into this bottom, and it does it all spring long. Now this bottom here is pretty productive, but it should be a whole lot more productive. Got real deep topsoil and everything, but because of all these numerous wet spots down the tree line, and then the water just seeps down through the bottom, this end of the bottom does not do near what it should. I mean, we make 200 bushel corn here easy. We should be making between 250, 300 bushel corn here, and a lot of it's because, well, we don't have a good stand. The soil gets saturated during spring rains here in the lower middle part of the bottom. You know, our planter gets nasty, gets choked up with mud as we plant next to the tree line and everything, because of those multiple mud holes down through there. And I finally decided, you know, we actually own this land, so we're not going to lose it. Finally decided, you know, we're losing money on this piece of ground every year, money that we could be making. So I decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and put tile in here and be done with this problem. And, you know, this 14-acre bottom on this 60-acre field should be the most productive spot on the field, and should be able to maximize its full potential now. All right, before we start surveying, he's getting the base station set up for the RTK, and what the base station does is it provides a fixed GPS point with elevation and everything that then communicates with the receiver on the side-by-side, so you can get sub-inch accuracy on elevation changes in this field. Zach tells me by the time we get done, before you pull that tile plow out of the field, we ought to see water running out of the line. Is that true or not?
I believe we'll see some water today, yes sir.
Well, it's definitely wet enough out here, that's for sure.
It definitely is.
They don't make laptop screens that work well in bright sunlight, do they?
No, they do not. Especially when the brightness is all the way down.
They're showing you a map on there, just a bunch of numbers.
You can take a look if you want to flip it around. So that little box is us, and every little blue dot it's dropping is a captured point. And this boundary perimeter will draw a line around our survey inside of where we're going to be working.
Y'all can see right down through there where all that water drains out. It generally stays pretty wet over here.
Yeah, you can tell it's definitely a wet one.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some good down here.
You can watch as we're traveling. It's shooting the elevation of the path we're driving. So we actually just went up. We're still continuing to go up. Probably going to get about 360 in this corner. Started about 358.
I was thinking that this corner over here was a low spot of the field.
Well, there's 360. Yeah, so looking like we might have some more fall towards our base station. Still holding at 360.
All right, we get up here towards the first wet spot where it comes off the hillside out of the woods right there. See water standing here, all down through there. You know, every time I plant this, I just gotta raise my planter up and drive across it so I don't choke it up with mud. Look right down through here. I mean, nothing but solid water, and it's all seeping out of that hillside right there. All right, now that you're going all the way around the boundary, you say you make a pass about what, every 20 feet mapping elevation?
About 20 to 30 foot, yes sir.
All right, see right here, here's another prime spot. See that big wet spot right here? We're about to get rid of all of this. I'm sure a lot of y'all wondering, you know, what's this costing you? You said you ain't got any money this year. And well, the fact is we don't, but the fact is we're losing potential, you know, money-making opportunities on this field every year. You know, we're gonna have corn on this field this year. I'd fully expect to see in this field, would you say a 50 bushel increase is unreasonable now that we're getting the drainage right on it?
I wouldn't say so.
You know, 50 bushels an acre, let's just say $4 a bushel. You know, that's $200 an acre with no extra inputs that is called, with no extra inputs that we're going to have to apply. So, you know, this right here for this field, you know, it's costing me over $1,000 an acre. But in, you know, 5-6 years, I mean, this tiling should pay for itself. And then after that, you know, we're looking at pure profit. So it's a pretty tough pill to swallow on the front end, but if you're going to be in the game long enough, everybody tells me it's a game changer. And while we have just very few fields that need tiling, where we are going to do it, I'm really expecting to see some big things in the coming years off of it. All right, so you got the elevation of the field right there, don't you?
I do. You can see down there your elevation. So if I take my mouse cursor up here to...
Is red going to be highest and blue going to be lowest?
It is.
And you just go in and draw your tile paths from there?
I do. Just draw it just how I want it.
Well, you got quite the cockpit here. Sitting sideways, you can look front and back.
Yeah, 360 view. We can see the pipe spooling off. I've got cameras all around this rig, so I can make sure we're not pulling any tight spots in the pipe. Everything's going as it should. I don't know if earlier when we were talking about stringing the pipe off the reel, we've got a front and rear power feeder, and that's going to keep it from pulling too tight.
Yeah.
And keep a little slack in there.
All right, so right now you're mapping the main lateral line.
We are fixing to survey our pass for our main.
All right, now done surveying, going to drop the tile plow there into the outlet hole that's been dug. But before we do any tiling, we need to put some pipe on there. All right, right here is where the outlet to the tile is going to be, and the creek flows that way, so they kind of got it angled to where it's going to be shooting out in the creek. One of my concerns was, you know, we've seen this creek actually get full and get out in the fields, and my concern was with water flowing back up into the tile line and I don't blowing it out or anything. I don't know, but we got it angled where it's going to be, flow's going to be going that way following the creek. Well, look at all that gray down there. That ain't nothing but just, that's fragile. You can clearly see where the fragile starts, just right above the bottom of that trench. Now all we gotta do is just wait on the skid steer to get over here. It's gonna bring the tile from all the way up there at the road down here, put the big spool on there and go to laying some pipe. All right, apparently rather than, you know, putting that spool on the machine, because it's going to be just a short run of main line, I guess they're just going to drive this beside it rather than putting it on there and having to feed it all the way through there. Talk about a massive subsoiler there. to go right there through the one of the biggest wet spots here in this field. They just pulled it through there like it's nothing. All right, got the main line run. Now it's time to start running the laterals up and down the field. So this main line right here, how deep were you running that one?
I was about 3.5.
About 3.5 feet deep. And it's what, a 6-inch line?
That is a 6-inch.
6-inch line. Now, the rest of the process, once he gets the outlet over there filled in, was he go in here and dig in where you gonna join the pipe before then you'll drop down in the hole and run your laterals, or how exactly does that work?
So that's pretty much correct. That's exactly how we're gonna do it. We're gonna go through and just mark the holes, dig them, and drop in and take off.
All right, putting the first roll of 4-inch on there for the laterals. Tell you what, we might get the tile business. We've already got one piece of equipment that works to move that roll of tile. That sure looks a whole lot like that round bale cotton mover we got. Now, all I need is probably close to another $1 million worth of equipment. We can run our own tile. All right, right down there at the bottom, you can see the top of that main tile line, and getting the trench dug out to get the lateral started. And you got your campfire shovel. You going to get down there and dig it out to put the T in?
Yep, I just dug that.
He's already off to the races down there. $3 miles an hour is what he's tiling at. My goodness, I was not expecting that. I thought it'd be a lot slower process than what it is. It takes a while to, get set up to do it properly, but once it comes time to lay pipe, this goes pretty dang quick. I just made it to 4 miles an hour. All right, apparently the machine cuts the pipe and then it'll lay the rest of it down in there. Taking off on our second run here, so show us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, we got our line there. That's the whole plan of what that run's going to look like. You see our depth up there. This is the whole plan of the run.
getting about too dark to film, and they just about got this field done. They got one more lateral to run down through there, but the base station's in the way, so we have to move that. And then going right down here next to the woods, the field kind of curves back that way. They're gonna have one to run there. So don't know if they're gonna try and get that wrapped up today. Ran into a little problem here. The main pipe was a little shallower than what he was expecting, and wound up hitting it with a bucket when he was digging the trench to run the lateral out of, so he hadn't repaired it. Looks like he's had plenty of experience doing that though. Everybody give a round of applause to Kelly. She got the four-wheeler running again. She changed the battery on it.
Hey, I also aired up the tire. I checked the oil. I made sure that everything was running right and connected properly.
You wouldn't think a battery for the four-wheeler would be hard to find, but Napa has none where I normally buy my batteries at. We had to go to the Honda place, and of course it's high priced.
That's an expensive little, look at that little thing.
$91. I tell you what, between batteries, bearings, and filters, I'm gonna go broke this year. Well, I thought y'all was gonna try and finish up tonight, but you got issues here with the excavator?
We do. We just about got it whooped, but it's probably this dang DEF system.
Yeah, we know what that's like. DEF has put us down for the count. The machine is perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it, but the freaking emission system, and it sits right there.
Yep, just unreliable.
And right here, when we're so close to being done with this field, so you're just gonna shut it off and hope it resets, or just gonna try and pick back up in the morning?
We got a part to do a repair in the morning. It should be a quick repair, so we'll get that out here and get it done.
All right, it's after lunch the next day, and I was kind of hoping they'd be able to get this project finished up, but they spent all morning getting the track hoe fixed. They think they got it fixed, and apparently they got like another truck broke down. But anyway, they said they'd either be out tomorrow morning to finish up or Monday morning finish up, so no big deal. So not forecast to have any rain come in or anything, but me and Eddie want to come out here and see if this tile is starting to work. Are we draining the swamp yet?
Yeah, it looks like it. A drift at a time.
Well, let me climb down here to the outlet. We'll see. Ooh. Hope I can get back up. Yes, sir. It is working. Andy, we are draining the swamp.
Okay, that's good.
Watch out there. Uh-oh, you're going to get some wet feet.
No more wet feet. Not today.
Well, that's a reason to smile right there. I was kind of thinking maybe flow would be a little bit heavier because there's, definitely some saturated spots up there, but I don't know how quick water's supposed to flow out of tile, but it is draining, so it is working. All right, I'll bring y'all back whenever we get back to laying some more pipe. All right, well, they finally got done this morning over there on the home place and over here behind my house, and they're going to do a little bit of tiling over here. You can see this wet spot right there. And what happens is, just like on the other farm, we got the fragipan right here. We got a terrace, and then, we got a hillside going up to the back of my house, and, all winter long, rain falls in the woods, hits the fragipan, starts moving laterally, and that's where it comes out. I mean, I've actually tried to get a backhoe and, dig this terrace out to where, it'll drain on like it's supposed to, but it just didn't help. The water is seeping down into the fragipan, below the ditch, and like I said, it's just moving laterally up under the terrace and coming out right there. And I mean, it stays wet on into the summer, and just most years can't plant anything. If I do plant something, it don't do much growing. So, but for this little bitty job right here, I mean, they're not going to bring the tile plow over here. It's too much work getting it loaded and unloading. What they're going to do, I believe, is just run two lateral lines right down through here to where the track hoe is. We got a ditch going that way and going to dump out there, and that should get rid of this problem right here. Now, we're not talking about a big area here, but it's been a thorn in my side for as long as I've been alive, and we only got a 9.2 acre farm right here, and we probably got about a half of an acre right here, this 9.2 acre farm, that's just not producing anything. It should be some of the most best producing part of the farm, but it's not because it stays saturated all the time. So while it's going to help us with yield, so what it's really going to do, getting us another half acre of really good production on a 9.2 acre farm, that's really going to help raise our insurance yields, our insurance history and everything. So if we draw a claim, we got a half acre of, say, cotton here that's not producing much. Say, it's only producing, 600-700 pounds, but the rest of the farm is 1,000. Well, it's bringing that down. But if we can get this 600-700 pound half of an acre up to 1,200-1,300 pounds to where it should, it's going to bring our field average up, which raises our guarantee. And in the event we have a claim, it'll help us draw in more income. And then not only that, just not getting my planter or drill, just plain old mud, just plain old nasty. Anyway, I think the guys gone grab them a bite to eat. They'll probably buy after a while, but like I said, they're just going to they're just going to trench it in with a track hoe. Just dig two lateral trenches. It's going to be a pretty slow process, nothing exciting, but we'll check back on them here in a little while. There's a line they've already buried, so they're just about done getting the first line done. Then I think they're going to move out a little bit over here and run a second one. Put in the hard way here.
Old school.
All right, after looking at this, I think instead of running, two lines side by side, all our problem originates from right there coming out the woods. And the pipe was going to end right here at this terrace, but I think what we're going to do is just run it through the terrace, and that low spot we got to drive through, run it all the way to the woods. And I don't think there'll be any need for running another one right here, because all of our problem originates where it seeps out right there and just trickles its way down through here. You can see right here, like I said, it just comes out of the woods. This stays wet, like it'll stay wet until June at least. So we're just gonna run that tile line all the way up through there, and that ought to solve everything. Now he's going to have to dig this out wide enough that the track hoe can fit down in there level, so he can kind of keep it on grade. Yeah, we definitely made the right decision to run this all the way to the woods. Look at the bottom of that trench. Look at all of that water flowing down here to the field. Yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot better rather than waiting for the water to come underneath the soil to the field. Better just go ahead and take care of it up here, and then that way all this excess water never actually reaches the field. So I'm gonna like this a whole lot more. Plus, we're not going to have to drive through this mud hole every single year like we've been doing. But anyway, all that's left is just pushing some dirt, filling in the trench, and this tiling project will be done. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. A little bit different than what y'all seen on our channel before. Never seen this before, but tell you what, if I like the job it does, I got a couple more spots in mind we might do in future years, as long as we remain in business this year and can afford it. And guys, if y'all are in the area anywhere from Kentucky all the way down to Alabama, y'all be sure to call Inco Tile. They'll be glad to take care of you. You know, I've been so far, at least from what I've seen, I've been super pleased with the job they've done. You know, it remains to be seen, you know, how well this is going to help our problems, but I do believe it will. So I ain't even got the whole trench filled up yet, and you already got water running out. I'd say y'all got it on grade there.
Oh yeah.
Boy, that makes me happy. And it's just getting stouter too. So it's already gotten in pipe way up there and already flowing out. Well guys, I'd say this is a success, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a video. Appreciate y'all watching. See you on the next one.